Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence, and how are you? I hope you're having a great day. A big mahalo for tuning in. Today we get to speak with a ferocious vocalist. This is going to be a really special thing. His band has been rocking for nearly 14 years. Their self-titled debut dropped in the spring of 1997, and they've been a force to be reckoned with since then. Their latest album came out in the spring of 2001, Cold Day Memory, and the single from it, Last Breath, is on radio now. They're on tour supporting it. They have upcoming dates down under on the bill with Iron Maiden, as well as more dates on the Music as a Weapon tour. Korn and Disturbed also part of that. We're still hoping for a Hawaii date, and we'll try to talk this gentleman into that for sure. It's a pleasure to welcome Sevendust vocalist Lajon Witherspoon. Aloha and mahalo, my brother.
Aloha. It's fantastic, and it's great, and I feel very privileged to be able to talk to you and say hello to everyone in Hawaii.
It's right on, man. Thank you very much for that, and a privilege right back at you to speak with you. And we're connecting over an ocean and a continent, probably. Where am I catching you today?
Actually, believe it or not, the tour ended a little early, and I was able to come home about 3 days early, as well as all the guys, and it's great. So I'm talking to you from my house in Georgia.
That's really cool. And just as a weather update, because I know they've been getting snow literally almost up and down the whole coast. How is it where you are?
You know what? Actually, right now the door is open to the back, and the sun is beaming down, and it's about 60-something degrees, so it's great.
Dig it. And when we were talking earlier, I know you mentioned you had some dogs. What kind of pets do you have? Name them and what kind they are.
Oh, that's funny. Chewy and Presley. Presley's a French bulldog, and Chewy's an English bulldog, and she's new. She's about 6 months old, and she's a funny little dog.
Chewy and Presley.
Yes.
Where did the names come from?
Well, you know, Presley from, of course, Elvis Presley, and Chewy was a gift to my youngest daughter from her Gigi, so she came with the name Chewy.
I dig that. Very cool, man.
And you know what? And me coming home from tour, I figured out why she's Chewy, because she's chewed up everything. So we got to figure that out.
What's your personal history in terms of, and we'll talk about the tour in a moment. I heard about the cancel or the postponement of some dates and stuff. But what's your personal history, Lajon, with the islands? How many times have you been out here to Hawaii?
You know, believe it or not, I've never had the chance to come to Hawaii, and it's always been a dream. And I can't wait to have the opportunity for us to be able to come, or for me and my family to be able to come and experience. I've always seen pictures and, you know, TV and television and things like that, but we haven't been able to make it there yet, man, so let's make this happen.
Well, you're talking to the right guy. We'll do what we can.
Right on. You know, real pleasure to play and rock it out there, and show everyone, you know, the magic that we feel that we bring, and create a great energy together, and, you know, build a relationship is what Sevendust is all about.
Certainly, and that's probably a key ingredient to the longevity of the band. Do you happen to watch Hawaii 5-0?
Yeah, yes, exactly. I do. That's funny. I watch the old episodes.
So you don't watch the new one?
All right, definitely. I'll check it out.
Okay, just because that's more updated, but they're both.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
They're both really cool, though. That's cool that you check that out.
I still watch Sanford and Son too, so you know I said that.
That's funny you mentioned that. I just had Patrick Simmons of the Doobie Brothers on. We were talking about when they were on What's Happening.
No way, that's crazy.
Do you remember when they were on there and Rerun was bootlegging them?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. I used to watch all those shows, man, growing up.
Me too. That's one of my favorites. So you've got some exciting dates because of the way things worked out with the postponement of the Music as a Weapon tour dates. You're going next down under, and it's going to be playing on the same bill with Iron Maiden. And I'm just curious how far back you go, both personally and professionally, with Maiden.
Oh, you know, well, I don't think we've ever played on the bill with Iron Maiden, unless it was like a big festival and they played it a day or so later, like, you know, Rockin' Ring and Rockin' Park. But it's funny, I know the drummer, and we've known him for years, like ever since Nikos has been coming around, ever since the band opened up for the band Creed. back in the day, and we met him. And so over the years, we've run into each other and talked, and seen each other in Florida. He's kind of relatively close to my parents in Florida in West Palm, so whenever we're there, we see him. So it's really funny, and it's going to be crazy to actually be on a stage in Australia, the whole tour, playing with Iron Maiden. It's crazy, man. I can't believe it. And I've never been a part of a tour so big, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to pull it off.
When you were a kid, were you buying Maiden records?
Not necessarily being able to buy them, but you knew about them, and you heard them when you went to the bowling alley or the skating rink. So, it was awesome to be able to get out and listen to those type of things.
It's funny you mentioned Nico. He was maybe the first celebrity I ever met, Lajon. When I was just a kid, he was doing, in the spring of '88, he was doing this drum clinic outside Philly where I grew up, and he was the first guy I met. And then just a couple months later, I met him backstage at a Maiden show, and he's always been such a nice, the two times I met him, he was so nice and down to earth. So I think it's going to be special for you to be part of that tour.
Oh, definitely, man. We can't wait. We look forward to it. You're absolutely right about him always being a very great guy and such a nice gentleman. So it's really cool that you got that experience, too.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely something that we share there. When you're doing the current tour lineup, what time do you guys play on that Music as a Weapon? Like, how is it structured? Who goes on first and stuff?
I'll tell you exactly. In This Moment, which is a great band, they play first. And Sevendust, we go on probably around 7:40 every night. We get about a 35-minute set. We go out there and bang it out and, really bring it real hard. And the energy has been incredible. And then Korn and Disturbed flip-flop, each night. So you could have Korn headline it one night, Disturbed. So it's really it changes the show up, and it's really, it's interesting, man. It's a hard-hitting show the whole way through.
Yeah, it is. No doubt. I had Jonathan on last year from Korn. What a nice guy and so articulate, wonderful person. Are you close with him?
Yeah, but, we get to hang out with each other and hang. It was funny. Right at the beginning of this tour, we went and gave Jonathan a cake. His birthday, just passed. So it was really cool. And, yeah, everybody hangs. We see each other in catering or, we have a dressing room beside each other. We'll come in each other's dressing room or whatever, So, everybody's really cool and tight. And, we hang out. And Morgan was actually going to play with Korn on a few dates because of Ray, the drummer. He's about to have his new baby, and we didn't know exactly when the baby was going to come. And so, it's definitely a brotherhood out there, man.
Yeah, I heard that was going to happen, and that's super cool that you describe it in that way. And it was basically because, David's from Disturbed is having some trouble with his voice or something at these dates?
That's the reason the tour was ended was because Dave, his voice, I believe they said one of his vocal cords had something with a problem, which, I kind of understand that. And so he cut it short by 3 days, and the days are going to get made up, Actually, the San Antonio show was the last show we played, so it was In This Moment, Sevendust, and Korn, and, we still brought it, and, I explained to the crowd, and I asked everyone to pray and, give him his blessings and, wish him a speedy recovery. Of course, everyone went nuts. So it was cool, and I think everyone understood, that everybody's human,
Totally. He's a solid brother. I remember hanging with him one time backstage at an Ozfest years and years and years ago. Like you, he's been around for a very long time, and I hope that he heals and is back out there rocking with you.
He's one of the reasons that we're even out here on this tour is because of the Disturbed guys, so we really appreciate those brothers.
Oh, really? They helped get you on the thing?
Well, definitely, with going out with him before and them doing the Weapons tour and having a big part of it, was a plus for the dust to come out.
A plus for the dust. I like it.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about that tour, Lajon, and there's something I find interesting. You and I are close in age, and while in our lifetime, concerts were not mixed with different kinds of bands. Like, today, ever since you and I have grown up, basically, concerts have been very niched out, like the way you described. It's a very heavy bill. It's all bands that are real heavy. And I wonder, in your head, if you could have your ultimate wish, would you prefer a bill that was like that had only the real heavy bands? Or, if you could, would you be interested in sort of mixing it up, kind of like the way Bill Graham did in the old days, and they'd have all different kinds of bands? And if you could do that, what are some of the bands you'd put on the same bill?
Well, I've always, that's something that we've always done, is mixed it up. We've been out, from bands from the likes of Nickelback to Creed to, Saving Abel, back to Hatebreed and, Machine Head, from the Prodigy. I mean, it's an incredible energy. I'm all about the music, and it was just a way to be able to be a part of a heavy tour. Now, if it was a bill that I could try to put together, I don't know. I would like to have a band like Paper Tongues come out, Perfect Circle or Tool, Sevendust. Man, there's so many different things. I would like to go out with like Thin Lizzy. It's I'm just, like I said, I'm a music lover. It doesn't always have to be all the heaviest bands. I love to mix it up. I love when we do shows and you can, sometimes catch a country act on the bill, like at these big festivals sometimes, or anything that's, just out of the norm that's not definitely in the genre that we play. It's always interesting to me. So I'm all about, those mixed up bills.
So you would like that if you had the chance to do a real...
Definitely. I'm all about that. The whole Woodstock type of thing, and, those big festivals are always fun, and they bring all kind of different people out, and I think it's, ultimately about music, and anything with conviction and meaning and soul, and I'm getting it, you know what I mean? No matter what type of music it is, as long as you have conviction and meaning, and I understand it. So, and music is a healer to me, so I have no problem with any kind of music.
Are you a P-Funk fan at all?
Oh my goodness, what are you talking about? Let's go back to Maggot Brain. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm a real big, really into Parliament Funkadelic and the old P-Funk, Gil Scott-Heron, a lot of stuff from that era, and was just curious if there were any particular, anything from that era that had influenced you or in your earliest days moved you towards music, because you're such a rock dude, and yet I'm just curious what other flavors you were early on in your life into.
The Maggot Brain album definitely was a very great influence on me from a soulful rock vibe, if you know what I mean. Definitely being a P-Funk fan, that album, just the guitar solo from the beginning, first first tracks, just it was amazing, and the way that they did things. I don't know, I listened to it all. I came from growing up, my dad was in a disco band, and so it was disco music and R&B music everywhere, and then my grandfather and grandmother had horses, Tennessee walking horses, so I would go to the farm in the summer and you would hear nothing but country music and, rock and roll. So it was always all kind of music around, and I was never afraid to listen to everything, so if that makes sense.
No, of course it does. And there's something very unique about what George was doing, especially with Funkadelic, because it was so heavy. It was not. It was pioneering in many ways. It was sort of like a parallel to Sabbath in some ways.
There you go, definitely, man. I dig it, and I was definitely digging that growing up, and just all kind of stuff, man. The house was full of music.
What do you think it was, though, that made you get into the heavy music the way you are? I mean, you're known for that, and I've got to wonder, there must have been a point in your life when you were a little kid where you just veered towards channeling your energy in a certain way.
Well, let's see. I was in a kind of a funk and roll, funk band pretty much before the beginning development stages of Sevendust, which we became. Let's see, at the rec room, rehearsing with, the beginning was this guy, Lee Banks, that played guitar, this great guitar player that came from the funk band with me. And we met up with John Conley and Morgan Rose and Vinnie Hornsby, and they came and got me out of this restaurant I was working in. And my side project band played on Monday nights, and I remember going to see these guys play and, always saying, I'm going to jam with these guys, because they were in bands that were, known in Georgia, but I was really too young to go to these clubs, but I was able to get in because I was, considered this senior guy, so it was kind of neat. And one day we all got together at the rec room, man, and we just started jamming a song that me and Lee had, and with those two guitars and the bass and Morgan playing drums, it had this unique heavy sound, and that was the beginning stages of, I guess, the heavy. I don't know. And then, we were young and, hungry and ready and mad at the world, and and you know, couldn't believe that we were getting ready to start this dream of becoming these artists, and never in a million years would have thought that that dream would have come true and being able to touch so many people, man. But yeah, that's where the heaviness started at, you know, back then in the rec room days when we were, you know, barely making it, and you know, oh God, struggling, and just the angst, and you know, just going through, I guess, just everything that everyone else went through, just being able to put it on paper and into a song. And that was what came out of us, and that was our therapy, that heaviness and that driving force.
When you, a couple great things you said there. When you think back to that time, that struggle, the moments of most struggle, what goes through your mind? What's a moment you say, man, I remember one time, fill in the blank?
Let's see. Man, I remember one time that, I mean, you know, driving to the gigs, and I remember one time barely making a gig because me and my guitar player couldn't find it. And we drove, I mean, it was it was Georgia, but it was kind of far out. I can't remember exactly, but I remember stopping at a gas station. He was like, oh yeah, you guys are about an hour out. We were like, okay, we're going to find it, and we left. And I remember coming back around in this big circle an hour later, and I said, you know what, oh my God, that's that same gas station. And we walked into the thing again, said he got it. It's like the Twilight Zone. He was like, I should have been there. What are y'all doing? I was like, oh my God, what happened? So it was funny. We barely made it to the show. We got to play for about 20 minutes, but, you know, we still made it. And I can't believe that things like that happen. But, you know, I don't know. That was just a funny story. The things that happened growing up playing.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah, we didn't have a van, so we had to drive in a separate car.
That is, because when you were saying that, it just makes me think, because I was going to ask you, you know, I remember really well when you guys first started coming around, and I guess as you were answering that and talking, I'm thinking, you know, as you get older, how has your musical perspective, you know, those were tough times, you were angry at the world, you said, to kind of paraphrase and quote you. In what ways has your perspective changed, and how has that changed the way you write songs?
Oh my God, I think everything has changed the way that we write songs. Not only, you know what? Let's see. To put it this way, in that era when we began writing music, you have to understand too. We were so young that we didn't really even experience that much loss yet. So that was another thing that changed our lives. When we started getting older, we started losing people. And going through, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to me, and I can't believe that happened to us. But you know, it happens to everyone. But you never think it would happen to you. Those type of things started coming into play in songs. Oh my goodness, getting married, that changed everything. You know, having this new life, being born and being a daddy, and then oh my God, being a daddy of two, and just those type of things changed. And that changed our music. That I don't necessarily mean it softened it up, but it gave us something to write about, and not to be afraid to write about different emotions. And I believe that was something that we were able to capitalize on after all those things happened. We just grew up, and we grew up as men, and you know, and I think it showed in the music and in the songs and what we sing about. And, you know, you still have those heavy hitters, but you might have a song talking about one of, you know, hanging out with one of the kids, you know. But but it's cool to be able to incorporate and to have the family, because that's so important to us too, as family.
Maya and Jada, yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, you said it right on.
And how has, because I don't have kids, and I'm a couple years older than you, and the way it's looking, I probably won't. So I'm always curious. I never thought I'd be this curious. But in what ways do you think having them has changed you, and do you ever fear that softening up and being a father and going through loss, like you eloquently describe, will ever jeopardize the intensity Sevendust is known for?
Oh, definitely not. I think it only intensifies it, because a song is emotion, and I think that, you know, we all go through every emotion, be it love, hate, you know, anger, whatever. You know, I think we all do that, and I think our songs in the set up a way to tap into all those emotions. So I never think that. I think it only makes it better when you involve people with what's really going on, because then it's the truth. Because, I can't always write about, let's rip somebody's neck off. I'm not even saying we've ever done that before, but, I'm just saying make it, whatever, you know what I mean? But it's not everything's not like that. I think that we change and we grow. And I feel honestly that the people that have been, and I don't say fans, friends and family that have grown up with us, man. It's incredible to go to a town and see this cat that came out. I'm 38 years old now. It was coming out when we first started, and I have 2 kids, and he has 2 kids, and he's bringing his kids to the show, and it's an incredible energy, and to be able to be a part of something that you feel that you've kind of grown up with, and you've grown up with these people, and they love you enough to invite even their family, and now the kids have girlfriends, and you're not supposed to be dating yet. What are you doing? And then you get to tell them this, and it's an incredible thing to be a part of.
It sounds like it. And when you thinking about, there's something else that I've always been curious about with you, because you do channel such emotion into the music. What is a cause or causes or issues that personally move you, Lajon, or choke you up inside?
I'm a real sensitive person, I guess. Anything that's going on, man. I feel I don't necessarily say the word compelled to be emotional about it, but you can't help when you see things going on in the world, or you look out in the crowd and you see someone that's a song. You might not know the reason why, but you can kind of almost understand that it can either be happy or bad, and sometimes you can see it. So that gets you emotional sometimes. I can be emotional on the stage because I hadn't seen my baby and my wife, for 3.5 weeks, and a song could really tap into me. Just different things can bring you. I can be emotional about one of my brothers that's sad about something that I have to see every day of my life, that I know more than anyone knows. That we know each other more than anyone knows. That could be into something emotional. There's just so many things, I think. But I try to live my life in a blessed way, and thank the Lord for every day that I wake up, and I'm able to be able to do what we do.
Well, and that's a great attitude. And on a sort of closing note with you, I'm fortunate today. I'm supposed to be interviewing actor Gary Sinise, who's coming to the island. He's doing a big USO thing for the military, and so I'm going to go on this Army base and talk to him. And I mention that because you are one of a handful of artists who, and you were talking about being grateful and stuff there, you're one of these guys who has shown your gratitude for the troops. You've gone and performed in both Iraq and Afghanistan. And I was hoping, because I've never been to either of those places, and I'm around a lot of military myself and like to show them respect, I was hoping you could kind of share a little about some of those journeys, describe being there, what was security like, just maybe like paint a picture for us of some of your interaction with the soldiers.
The last place we were at, we were in South Korea, so that was an experience too within itself. Now, on that note, going to Iraq and Afghanistan, anything for the troops is an incredible. To be asked to come over and to perform music and to do what we do, and to see the respect and the smiles and the gratitude is like, are you kidding me? Thank you for what you do, and to put you in a frame of mind of like the places we were at. Maybe one time we were at a hotel, but pretty much we were in the middle, in the barracks. We were with the fellas, man, with the ladies and gentlemen, with the guns, in the tents, in Iraq, in Mosul, hearing the mortars go off and everything. And like I try to explain it to people. I've explained it to the kids in the audience. I said, it's not like hearing a gun, a couple of streets away from your house. I said, it's like hearing a bomb a couple of streets away from your house. So it's a completely different feeling. And my hat is off to anyone that serves for this country, man. And protects us. To see the looks of the faces over there, man, it just touched my heart, and it's such an emotional experience. It's one of the most emotional things that I've ever been a part of, is going over there for the troops and doing anything with them in the middle of a desert, and only having 300 or 400 troops looking at you and knowing that they're not getting ready to go home, but giving them a piece of home, man. I mean, it's I can't explain it, man. I don't get away from it at all. Actually, at my house, when you go into the theater room downstairs, there's a shrine from South Korea to Iraq to Afghanistan of coins that soldiers have given me, and they're in the cases, and I have the flags and the maps and everything, man. And it's changed my life. And I'm sorry that I was going on so much about it, but it's definitely something that I still think about every day.
You got those coins that they say you go into a bar and if you put it down on the counter, everybody's got to buy you a drink or whatever.
Oh yeah, check it out. I now have over 200 of them, but I always keep like 3. Like I have one from the commander in Iraq, and that's a real nice one. I always throw that one out, and everybody's like, so that's a good one to have. And then I have a couple of other ones that are real good. But man, I'm telling you, I'm down with the troops. I'm down with with anything that's involved with helping and morale boosting. And, anything like that. It was so funny. I said, I'm too old, but I'll re-enlist every time I go and we do something. I'm like, let's do this.
And finally, any memories of Afghanistan?
Just the incredible shows, man. And, Afghanistan, we didn't get to play electric. We played acoustic, but the acoustic shows are so electrically filled with energy, man. You would have thought we would have had 7,000 amps. The soldiers, the troops with the guns in the air and just everything, it was incredible. And to be able to shake, that's something we do too. We make sure that we try to meet everyone, and we don't leave the building or the tent or wherever we're at until we shake everyone's hand. And it's really cool to hear stories. And it's so funny. It's really changed my life because over the years now, you go to different places, and we're in South Korea not too long ago, and we're at Camp Carroll, and you have soldiers and troops running up to you, and they were in Afghanistan, and I was in Iraq, and we're hanging out with the same cats that we were hanging out, in these different worlds, and, they came back to the hotel with us, and we all caught up, and, man, just a very emotional, I wish I could share the story with everyone in the world to share my appreciation on how much we appreciate what those ladies and gentlemen are doing for us.
Well, you sort of are doing this interview. Do you guys get paid to do those?
You know what, man? I think not like you would think. I think the payment morally costs for the shipment and all the things like that to get over, and it's definitely not anything like let's go to Disney World or anything. It's definitely I believe they pay for the shipping and the costing and things like that.
Well, I'd love to get you over here. We have 55,000 enlisted servicemen and women. This is the most militarized state in the entire country and one of the largest places where U.S. troops are in one place in the world. So try to keep it in mind, dude, if you could ever get over. I'll do what I can. I know that some people in USO, Public Affairs, but it'd be great to have you over here. I'm sure that it'd be well received, and I'd welcome you personally. We'd do a nice interview and stuff.
Thank you, sir, and we've tried, and we're trying, and anything that you could do to help, please. It would be an honor and a privilege to be over, to play, to hang out, to build a relationship, and to keep coming back. Let's do this.
I appreciate it, man. And let's stay in touch, Lajon. I hope that this wasn't a drag doing this. I really appreciate it.
Are you kidding me? I'm talking Hawaii aloha. What's up? How do you say goodbye?
It's the same. It's kind of like in Hebrew, like shalom. It goes both ways.
Okay, well, aloha, aloha. Aloha, it's Lajon Witherspoon from Sevendust, and you're in a fantastic place with my good friend Dave Lawrence. Aloha. Aloha, it's Lajon Witherspoon of Sevendust, and you're tuned to the only show that matters with my good friend Dave Lawrence. Oh, wow, I like it. Hey, Brother Dave, have a happy 420, because I will too. Aloha.
I hope we get to have one together when you're here. I give you a big hug, and I mean it. It was really fun talking to you. I admire you a great deal, and thank you for supporting the troops. I know it means a lot when you do that, and thanks for the great music, Lajon.
Hey, no, man, it's a pleasure to talk to you, man, and this is my number, so anytime, feel free to call, and thank you so much, and you have a beautiful day and another day in paradise, because I know you will there, brother. So what kind of concerts you got coming around?
We have, let's see, aside from the Gary Sinise thing today, we have the Deftones coming Friday. which is cool. We just had One Republic. I just interviewed the guys from One Republic. They're coming on the 21st. We've got a band called the Afro-Cuban All-Stars coming in April, which is like cool Latin Afro-Cuban music, real famous from Cuba. We don't get as much, bro. I mean, we get very, very little. So, who else is coming? We got a couple others. We've got the Doobie Brothers and War on the same bill.
Wow, that's gonna be great. That's old school. I like it.
Yeah, I just interviewed Patrick. What'd you say, brother?
We're supposed to do Okinawa and then come through Hawaii, supposedly, and I don't know what's going on with that, but I know it's being talked about still. So yeah, just keep in touch, and I'll let you know what's going on.
When would that be, roughly?
I don't even know. That's it's just been it's been through the grapevine, and we just got off this run, so it's something to be talked about probably next week. So just hit me up, and I'll hit you up and see what's going on.
I will, and I'll send you an email so you have my my contact info, phone number, everything, and anything I could do to support that, and just to hang with you when you're here. It'll be really nice.
Right on, man. Don't get mad at me if I hit you up for some beautiful pictures from my computer.
It'll be my pleasure.
All right, man. Hey, thanks a lot, Dave, and I'll talk to you soon, brother.